So, greetings everyone. My manuscript ID is icon 825, and my topic for the day is India's legislative silence and strategic ambivalence in tackling refugee crisis. So, let me break down the title first. So, legislative silence is when there is no statutory law regarding a particular subject. And what is ambivalence? It is uncertainty or fluctuation. It may be caused by inability to make a choice or by simultaneous desire to do two conflicting things. And what is strategic ambivalence is when the ambivalence is based on political agenda in our context. So what I will discuss today is the difference between the terms refugee, migrants and asylum seekers, the crisis that refugees are facing, the legislative silence regarding refugees by the state, and India applying strategic ambivalence while handling refugee crisis. So what is migration and who is a migrant? There are three main common reasons for migration: war, famine, and currently predominantly religion. So India saw the entire world saw the biggest migration in 1947, that is which happened between India and Pakistan when the British India was divided into India and Pakistan. So they took dangerous journeys from here to there and from there to here in order to migrate. And there are several types of migrations: economic migration, social migration, environmental, and political migration, which is what I'm more concerned about for today. So political migration is mainly for safeguarding one's life and dignity. So political migration can happen due to two main reasons. One is to escape conflict. That is what's happening in Kashmir even now. So Kashmiris migrate to different states within India, or they go abroad. And migrating to escape persecution, that's the second type. And persecution, we need to understand the word persecution, which is the most important thing when it comes to refugees, because the word persecution is being used in the definition of refugees in the convention, in the 1951 Refugees Convention. So it is a systematic mistreatment of an individual or group by another individual or group because of race or religious or other beliefs. For example, racial or linguistic persecution. This is faced by Tamils in Sri Lanka, which is being done by the Sinhalese. And religious persecution is happening in India against Muslims mainly by the religious majoritarian forces. So there are two main stages of political migration. One is being an asylum seeker, and secondly, refugee. However, there's not much difference in India. I'll tell you why. Asylum seekers are migrants who left their country and are seeking protection from serious human rights violations. They've actually applied for recognizing them as refugees, but they have still not yet been legally recognized. Whereas refugees are those who have actually been legally recognized as a refugee. This is the meaning according to international law. But in India, as refugees do not have a separate law or recognition, they are refugees and asylum seekers are more or less the same, because they are not being recognized by any statute. So refugees, they are persons who have fled their own country because they face or at the risk, they may be facing currently, or they may also be at the risk of serious human rights violations, persecution, or lack of safety and freedom of life. So the intense of what they face or the risk is so immense that they felt they had no other choice but to leave the country and seek for some other safe place, because their own country won't protect them, or they do not have the political will, or they actually cannot protect. So the convention relating to refugees is the convention relating to the status of refugees 1951, which India is not a signatory of, and it has not signed the 1967 protocol as well. This is the most important instrument for international refugee law because it has for the first time defined the term refugee. So what are the main crises that refugees are facing in India? They do not have proper legal recognition, because of which they are deprived of education and employment. These two are the most important factors that are necessary for living a life with dignity. So because of that, consequently, they are denied, they cannot earn their own living, so they can't they can't get food, shelter and clothing, healthcare, and they constantly face xenophobia from the local people. That is dislike or hatred of foreign people. Consequently, their dignity is being compromised. So the crisis. So what does the judiciary say about refugees? Is that in 1988, in ND Pancholi was a state of Punjab, the Supreme Court stayed the deportation order issued against a Burmese refugee and allowed him to take refugee status from the UNHCR, that is the High Commissioner for Refugees, by the UN, which is situated in Delhi. And similarly, in 1992 as well, in Malvika vs. Karelkar, 21 Burmese refugees were ordered to be given refugee status by the UNHCR. In Vishaka was the state of Rajasthan. The court harmoniously constructed, and it stated that international law and domestic law should be consistent with when it comes to matters of fundamental rights and human rights. So, as in this case, there was no legislation for sexual harassment at workplace. The Supreme Court relied on the CEDAW. So similarly, the issue with the legislative silence can be tackled by the judiciary, but how long with how many cases would it take to protect the almost 2 lakh refugees in our country? So the importance of this topic is, I would like to explain with a recent incident. In a social media post, India's minister he posted a tweet stating that refugees would be transported from slum-like camps to flats in Delhi. However, this tweet was revoked, and the Ministry of Home Affairs took charge of the announcement, and they stated that they would be deported back to their own country. So India has been dealing with refugees with strategic ambivalence. The reason why I'm using this term is because each and every refugees from different countries are being treated differently. That is mainly based on the difference is mainly based on religion. For example, Tibetan refugees. The issue between Tibet and China, when there was an issue, India welcomed Tibetan refugees. So they provided support by incorporating the Central Tibetan Administration in Himachal Pradesh, and it also Indian government provided lands to the refugees, and they even built separate schools for them. But it was also not without getting benefits from them. That is, they used them as political pawns during India-Pakistan war, which is not known by a lot of people. So they actually used them as soldiers, and they also used them for electoral politics. And similarly, India has been giving protection to Bangladeshi refugees, mainly to safeguard their own safety interests. So, as a conclusion, I would like to state that India can handle the refugee crisis much better by bringing about specific laws that protects refugees' rights as human rights, and give them the required protection by law. And how, as a first step, what the government can do is recently Myanmar had announced that they are going to take back refugees who have went off from their country to other parts of the world. That is, they have announced that they would be taking 1,100 odd refugees. They're welcoming back. So what India could do is, India has a good relationship with Myanmar government. So most of the refugees in Myanmar are actually in Bangladesh, where they do not have much space, unlike India. So they can actually have a diplomatic conversation with the Myanmar government and enable smooth repatriation of the refugees back in Myanmar. Thank you.